Hello, I'm so glad that I'm getting to your reading now and perfect timing. Everything's always in perfect timing. So, in these Astro Toe readings, there's a few things that I'm looking at. One, I'm looking at your toes and the messages that your toes are communicating. Two, I'm looking at your astrology chart, which is the map of your life. And from this map, knowing where you are, that's what the toes tell you. So you can't really get where you want to go if you don't know where you're coming from. So that's what the toes tell you. And again, your star chart is your map. Now, what the toes do in telling you where you're at is a few different things. First of all, the left foot is about your internal self, your connection with source, internal self. The right foot is your external self, how others experience you, how you move through the world. And then each of your toes has a specific energy. So your big toes, the big toe on the left foot is your spirit path. The big toe on your right foot is your life path. Second toes are communication. Third are action. Fourth are relationship, and fifth are trust and prosperity. And so how those are directed internally or externally is what your toes can tell us. So when I'm looking at your toes, there's a couple of things that just pop out to me. And the first thing that I want to say is looking at your toes in context with your chart, you are 100% doing exactly what you are meant to do. All this stuff down here in this third house, everything here, this is about communication and expression. And when you look at what you do for a living, you are communicating and expressing through the medium of podcast. And your midheaven, which is your destiny point where you're headed in this life, is in the sign of Leo. Leo, healed Leo says, I'm a superstar and so are you. Let's share this stage together. That's the energy that I get from you. Unhealed Leo is about look at me, look at me, look at me, and needing of attention and drama. But what you do in your communication, in your life path, is having you and others share this stage of being seen in a fun and creative way. The way you take action here in the fifth house of Aries, you take action. You are 100% an action taker, and it's in a fun and creative way. So, podcasting is a creative way. Another thing just that doesn't show up in your toes but shows up in your chart that I wanted to talk to you about is that you've got Jupiter here in your 12th house. That's angel on your shoulder. When Jupiter shows up in your 12th house, you've got an angel on your shoulder for your whole life. So I just invite you to receive that, to embrace that, and know that you have an angel looking out for you and you have your whole life. All right, so when we talk about that, let's talk about this life path toe. When we look at this life path toe, it is well grounded, it is solid, it is straight, it is pointing forward. You've got a little bit of callousing, that's protection. So we sometimes set up these walls around us to protect us. And this is in the past. Towards the center line is the past, towards the outside is the future. And so just exploring what are some of the walls that you've built in the past, specifically around your career, around your relating to others in this showing up big in the world and helping others do the same, that you can just release and let go. I actually feel like it's going to start to move just because we're seeing it right now. But just observe it. See if some of this callousing just goes away on its own. Your spirit path toe. Now, we always just look for contrast so that we have a starting line. When we look at your spirit toe, you've got a bigger nail bed on this. So your spiritual path is really important for you. And we can see that it is also straightforward and directed. This has a pointy, your life path is a little bit more blunt. So your life path, I'd be interested to hear how you started on the life path that you're currently in, what inspired you to do what you do in your career and in your life, and explore with you your spirit path, because your spirit path is a little bit more directed. There's a little bit more of a directed energy to that. So talking a little bit about spiritual practice would be interesting. Now, you do have just a tiny bit of a lean over in both of these toes. And so what I would invite you to do is, when you're in the shower and you're washing your feet before you go to bed as part of your meditation, just invite the top part of this toe, this energy, to track just a little bit more straight, moving away from this second toe. And here's why. This is your channel or path of leadership. So if this toe didn't bend over just ever so slightly there and tracked straighter, it would open up this channel of leadership. This is your channel of intuition. And so again, by moving that toe slightly straighter, it would open up these channels of intuition. And when we look over here at your chart, you are meant to be a leader. Leo is the king. You are here to be a leader. You are here to transform, and you've done this before. You have been a leader generationally in your past lives, and you know how to do it. The challenge for you is understanding what is the old way that you brought in and the new way that you're going to do things. You're here to transform that. This is all what's showing up here in your 10th house of career, public life, fame, and reputation. But you are the king. You are absolutely the king. So opening up this path of leadership will allow you to even show up with even greater courage and leadership. And then your path of intuition. So first of all, you've got a Scorpio rising. You have Jupiter in Scorpio, and your part of fortune is in Scorpio, and Neptune is in your first house. Now, let me tell you what all that means. Scorpio is a very intuitive sign. Scorpio likes to get to the bottom of things. Scorpio is concerned with what's underneath the surface. You explore this in your podcast, in your career. What's underneath the surface? Beautiful. You're showing up. That's where your fortune's going. That's where your fortune lies. This ability to get down deep into things is part of your identity. It's part of what makes you you. So you've got your part of fortune here in the sign of Scorpio. And so, and it's very close to this rising sign. So the way that you lead, the way that you go through life, the way that people experience you is as a transformer, as an alchemizer, as somebody who can distill things into their most concentrated and pure form. And then you've got Jupiter here in the 12th house in Scorpio. So this is another point where it's not just an angel on your shoulder, but this is deep intuition. So really opening up that gift of your intuition. Really beautiful. All right, back to the big picture here. Let's look at these second toes. This was actually the first thing that I saw when, the first thing that your toes said to me when I saw this photo. And that is they're bent like this. And so it's like they're gripping on. So my question for you is, what are you hanging on to that it's time to let go? My business partner tells a great story about her mother who had this, she's a dreamer. Her mother is a dreamer. She had this very vivid dream that she was going through life and going through, not life, but through this experience where she was being chased, but she couldn't see what she was being chased, but she just knew that she was being chased and she needed to escape. And so she's running, and she comes to a chasm and there's a rope hanging down for her to grab, but she cannot grab this rope. She doesn't know what's wrong. And her intuition says, look in your hand, look in your hand. And she looks in her hand, and in her hand, she is holding a handful of ballpoint pens. And so the message of this dream was, you can't grab onto the thing that's going to take you to the next level if you're hanging on to what in this dream was the equivalent of ballpoint pens. So stuff that feels important, like when you want to write something that feels really important, but it's actually not that important. So just meditate on, what are you hanging on to? What are you grasping that it's time to just release, trust, let it flow. You need to let go of what's in one hand so that you can receive into that hand the new gifts. These are beautiful toes. They're straightforward. They're pointing directly forward. You are absolutely a communicator. And if there wasn't this bend in the toe, those toes would be longer than or the same length as your first toe. So again, coming back to your chart, all this third house is about communication and expression. That is what this toe is about. So this communication and expression. What do you need to let go of so that you can express and communicate in a new way that's going to take you to the next level? So what I would recommend here is when you're, just whenever you think of it, just think of relaxing this toe and having that toe lay more flat, more straight, and moving forward. Healthy nails, beautiful in that. Now let's talk about these action toes. You are 100% an action taker. You've got your Mars in Aries here. You've got your midheaven here in Leo. So this is about fire. This is seeing it and going after it. Aries is the pioneer. Aries is the warrior. Aries goes from point A to point B in the fastest possible way. So you are definitely an action taker. Now, you do have some wounding from the past. I see this in this bend down here in the bottom. So this is in your childhood. This is in your teenagerhood. This is in the first half of your life where you have possibly been stopped. You haven't been able to move forward. There might have been outside and inside blockages that kept you from moving forward. Perhaps you were told you were too much, or there were things that you wanted to do, but you didn't feel safe doing it. Just gently massage these toes and let's release this blocked energy. And when you do that, you're going to experience a high level of energy that gets you from point A to point B. Again, I see that so energetically where I'm seeing you is at the edge of a cliff, and there is this rope coming down, and there's another cliff on the other side, and that other cliff on the other side is taking you to the next level in your life, in your business, in your finances, in your relationships. So releasing these blocks, this is part of that. You have your relationship toes, okay? Again, these relationship toes are long, they are straight. You feel good, generally speaking, about your relationships. Now, let's look at your relationship with self. Just I'd like you to consider where you're not following through, where you say you'll do something and then you don't, because you're going to keep your commitments to people outside of you. It's internally. What commitments to self are you not keeping? And explore that. And as you release this blocked energy here, this is also going to help move this energy here. All right, let's talk about these pinky toes. All right, these are your trust and prosperity toes. And we can see that with this toe, it's actually hiding a little bit underneath that relationship toe. So the question here is, where have you misplaced your trust? Where are you judging yourself for trusting someone? Oh my, isn't this interesting? This is just coming to me with the mutual experience that we have had together of trusting someone and a situation that was not trustworthy. Has this shown up in other areas of your life where you trust, but the trust is misplaced, and then judging yourself? There's something to think about. And I feel like that message might also be for me a little bit. So exploring that, who can you trust? Who are your allies? Who are people who have earned your trust? And are there people that you're not trusting, but you could trust them? They have earned your trust, and maybe you're just not trusting them. And this could even be somebody who in the past has shown that they're not trustworthy, but people can evolve. So just exploring that question. And then when it comes to prosperity, looking to the future and defining what prosperity means to you: money, health, relationships, opportunity. There's so many ways that prosperity can show up. What does it mean to you? And when we look again at this Scorpio energy here, Scorpio energy is about trust. It is about deep trust and feeling comfortable that you can trust. It's also, the flip side of that is shame. So what shame can be released for you that is going to help take you also to the next level. All right. Thank you for letting me read your toes. It's been an honor and a privilege, and I would love to chat more with you about anything in here that has hit home, or something that hasn't, because if something that I've said in here has not hit home, let's explore it, because your toes don't lie. Sometimes coming through the filter of a reader, it can be like what my filter is might be different than what your filter is. So we can definitely have a discussion about this. Thank you so much.